Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of our Explainer series. Today, we're crossing over into a completely different landscape, culture, and historical identity. We're heading straight into the heart of Bundelkhand to explore District Number 12, Banda. This is a rugged, deeply storied, and intensely proud district, where ancient history meets a pretty incredible modern resurgence. I mean, we're talking about a place where fortresses literally defied empires, and where the earth itself yields some absolutely stunning treasures. I'm so thrilled to walk you through this one, so let's just get right to it. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our agenda for today. The Jewel of Bundelkhand, Kalinjar, the Destroyer of Time, the Bajirao and Mastani legacy, Shajar stones and epic culture, and we'll wrap up with modern resurgence and demographics. Section 1. The Jewel of Bundelkhand, Geography and Ancient Origins. So before we can really understand the history of this region, we need to know exactly where it sits on the map, right? Banda is geographically positioned in the southern part of UTTAR Pradesh, right in the historical Bundelkhand region, spanning over 4,400 square kilometers. What's absolutely crucial here are its borders. To the south, it touches the Satnapana and Chhatarpur districts of Madhya Pradesh, which makes it a critical border district. The land itself is nourished by major rivers. You've got the Yamuna to the north, the Ken in the east, and the Bahan. Geologically, it's super fascinating because it features some of the oldest Precambrian rocks in the entire Indian subcontinent. As for the name, well, it evolved from Sage Bomdale. Locals believe he was an incarnation of Lord Rama, who actually had his hermitage right at the foot of Bambishwar Hill. And its historical roots, they go incredibly deep, tracing all the way back to the Chedi kingdom, mentioned in the Rig Veda. Moving on to Section 2. Kalinjar, Destroyer of Time, the Invincible Fortress. We are moving to what is undoubtedly Banda's crown jewel. Honestly, it's one of the most strategically important and formidable medieval bottlenecks in all of Indian history. One who destroys or subdues the effects of time. That is the actual meaning of the Sanskrit word Kalinjara. A 17th century commentator on the Mahabharata interpreted the fort's name this way, linking it directly to Lord Shiva's role as the ultimate lord of time. In fact, the fort is actually mentioned multiple times in the Mahabharata as a sacred pilgrimage center way before it ever became a military stronghold. Let's see how this builds, because the timeline of Kalinjar is just staggering. It has seen empires clash at its gates for centuries. Think about this. In 1023 AD, the notorious Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni attacked, but historical records suggest he was actually intimidated by the sheer size of the Chandela army defending it. Then look at 1545 CE. This is a massive turning point in medieval Indian history. Sher Shah Suri, the powerful emperor, actually died right here during the siege of Kalinjar due to a massive gunpowder explosion. Fast forward to the 18th century, the great Maratha Peshwa Bajirao captures it, and eventually by 1812 it falls under British occupation. This one rocky hill has literally shaped the destiny of dynasties. But it isn't just a military garrison. The architecture inside is marvelous. It houses the Nilkanth Temple, featuring the striking blue stone Shiva Lingam and a giant 18-arm statue. The pathways are lined with these ancient carvings of Kal Bhairav, Ganesh, and Hanuman. And importantly, this is the birthplace of Rani Durgavati. She was born here in 1524 and would go on to become the fierce warrior queen of the Gond kingdom, defending her realm against Mughal forces for over a decade. Section 3. The Bajirao and Mastani legacy, a surprising royal lineage. We're shifting our narrative now to a really fascinating genealogical twist. Banda's medieval history merges two incredibly powerful lineages in a way you might not expect. So, I want to pose this historical riddle directly to you. What connects a Hindu Maratha Peshwa to a Muslim Nawab in Uttar Pradesh? Sounds like a historical puzzle, doesn't it? Well, the answer lies in the unique lineage of the Nawabs of Banda. Let's break down exactly how this happened. It begins with the union of Peshwa Bajirao I and his famous consort Mastani, a relationship that famously bridged Brahmin and Muslim lineages. Their grandson, Ali Bahadur I, ended up leading military campaigns to establish Maratha authority over Bundelkhand, eventually declaring himself the Nawab of Banda in 1791. This unique heritage legally unified the region's administration for decades, and this line continued all the way down to his descendant, Nawab Ali Bahadur II, who would eventually clash directly with the British Empire. And that clash culminated in the 1857 uprising. On June 14th of that year, as freedom fighters from eastern districts inspired locals to take up arms, Nawab Ali Bahadur II declared Banda independent. Interestingly enough, he organized his own local governance, but strictly convinced the revolutionaries not to harm British personnel. However, this independence was brief. It lasted only about a year. British troops under General Whitlock marched in and defeated the Nawab's army. Tragically, 800 freedom fighters were killed, Fort Beauregard was destroyed, and the Nawab was exiled to Indore on a pension of 36,000 rupees a year. Section 4. Shajar Stones and Epic Culture. Banda's unique heritage. Let's pivot now from the battlefields to culture, focusing on the breathtaking artistic and natural treasures that define Banda today. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the Shajar Stone. Found almost exclusively near the banks of the Ken River, this soft, colorful sedimentary rock features these natural, tree-like patterns inside it. It's like a tiny forest trapped in stone. It's highly prized for intricate jewelry, with huge demand overseas. Recognizing its value, the government made it Banda's One District, One Product in 2018, which completely revived artisan clusters and generated over 5,000 local jobs. And to protect its authenticity, it was officially awarded a Geographical Indication, or GI tag, in 2023. Beyond the natural stones, Banda preserves its martial history through some really incredible folk traditions. You have the Alha Birha, which are these epic, open-air ballads singing the praises of medieval warriors like Alha and Dudal. Then there's the Diwali Pai Dunda, a super energetic martial stick dance performed from Diwali right through Sankranti, symbolizing community vigilance. To celebrate all of this, the district hosts the Kalinjar Mahotsav, an annual week-long festival. And culturally speaking, Banda also gave the world Kedarnath Agrawal, a highly celebrated Hindi poet who won the Sahitya Akademi Award in 1986 for his vivid depictions of nature and rural life. Section 5. Modern Resurgence in Demographics. Rebuilding the Jewel. There is a stark, powerful contrast in Banda's modern history. For years, the reality in this part of Bundelkhand was pretty grim. Severe droughts, agricultural distress, and tragic farmer suicides. But look at the modern triumph here. On October 23, 2024, Banda won the National Award for the Best District in the North Zone for Water Conservation. This was achieved through just immense community effort in rainwater harvesting and pond restoration. It was heavily inspired by people like Padma Shri awardee Umashankar Pandey, whose brilliant slogan roughly translates to "fields with buns and buns with trees." I mean, it's a massive turnaround for the region. Driving that turnaround even further is modern infrastructure. The local economy relies heavily on agriculture, especially high-repute Banda cotton. But a real game-changer has been the 296-kilometer Bundelkhand Expressway, completed in 2022, which is projected to drive over 10,000 crore rupees in investment through new industrial corridors. Demographically, the district has a population of around 1.8 million based on the 2011 census, with a literacy rate of roughly 66%. It is important to note, though, that despite this incredible progress, it's still officially recognized as a backward district, receiving targeted development funds. So the work of rebuilding the jewel is very much ongoing. Briefly looking at the social fabric from the 2011 census, the district is predominantly Hindu at 91%, with a Muslim population of about 8.76%. This reflects a long-standing, stable community structure that has carried the region's shared heritage forward for generations. Okay, to synthesize all this data, especially if you're an exam aspirant or a student watching right now, I highly recommend taking a quick screenshot. This perfectly summarizes the high-yield facts you need to remember. You've got your major rivers, the pivotal historical importance of Kalinjar Fort with Sher Shah Suri's death, the GI-tagged Shahar Stone, that unique Nawab lineage, the 1857 leadership, and the modern economic driver of the Bundelkhand Expressway. It's all right here in one place. This brilliantly illustrates the essence of the district. I want to read this one-line identity for you because it beautifully synthesizes everything we've learned in this explainer today. Banda, where a fort that destroys time withstood Mahmud Ghazni, killed Sher Shah Suri, and birthed a warrior queen, while the Ken River quietly gives the world its most beautiful gemstone. It literally gives you chills when you realize just how much history is packed into this one geographic space. Which leaves us with this final thought. As Banda transforms from an ancient, blood-soaked battleground into a modern, award-winning economic corridor, what other hidden stories remain undiscovered in India's heartland? There is just so much more out there to learn. Keep that curiosity alive, and make sure you join us for our next explainer as we continue decoding the rich tapestry of these incredible districts. Thank you so much for exploring with us today.